Tinubu as third choice for 2027. In business, Nigerians to file annual tax returns by March 31, 2026. On the foreign scene, Guinea-Bissau junta leftist lifts restriction on opposition politicians. And in sports, Rabakina beats Sabalenka to win 2026 Australian Open final. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Qasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, on StarTimes channel 276. And now the news in details. The immediate past national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has dismissed claims that Northern Nigeria will not support President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. Dr. Ganduje stated this in Abuja while receiving a delegation of Northern Nigeria youth leaders drawn from various states who paid him a courtesy visit and formally decorated him as patron of their forum. Our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, reports.
The immediate past national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, says Nigerian is fortunate to be led by a president he described as a seasoned and pragmatic politician capable of taking tough but necessary decisions in the national interest. Ganduje insists there is no better candidate for southern Nigerian to lead the country beyond 2027 than President Bola Tinubu.
And from the southern part of Nigeria, there was no better person than Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We made our prediction, we made our confession, we made our commitment, and finally it became true. So Asiwaju has spent for only less than 4 years now. And we have seen the measures, the reforms that he undertook, the reforms that he introduced in order to improve the socio-economic development of this country.
Earlier, national leader of the movement, Murtala Muhammad Gamji, described Dr. Ganduje as a role model, crediting him for empowering young leaders during his tenure as governor of Kano State. Gamji said the forum has resolved to fully support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election, pledging to mobilize youth across the 19 northern states and raise funds towards the president's nomination ahead of 2027 elections.
So we are here to tell you our aim and objective. As our father, whatever you focus, that is where we follow. With unanimous resolution, we have all agreed that this time around, inshallah, we are going to purchase form to Mr. President. We, the Northern Youth, there are nobody is better or is more powerful in this administration. Nobody have given support before even the campaign till date like you, our father.
The visit climaxed with the formal decoration of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje as Grand Patron of the Northern Nigerian Youth Leaders Forum. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has recognized the Nenadi Usman-led National Working Committee of the Labour Party following a Federal High Court order in Abuja. INEC updated its record to list Usman as Caretaker Committee Chairperson after Justice Peter Lifo upheld a Supreme Court decision that ended Julius Abore's tenure as National Chairman. The Abore-led faction had rejected the ruling and vowed to appeal, deepening internal tensions within the opposition party ahead of the 2027 elections. The Ebonyi State Governor Francis Nwifuru has ordered the removal of the traditional rulers in the Amashiri clan of Afikpo local government area and directed the withdrawal of their staff of office. He also sacked the Commissioner for Tertiary Education from the area, Professor Amari Omoka, and dissolved the entire political and traditional leadership structure of the community. The action followed a violent attack on Okborojo in Osoeda community, Eda local government area, during which 4 persons were allegedly beheaded with their heads taken away by assailant from the Amasiri clan. The governor gave the directive during an on-the-spot assessment visit to Okporojo, where he addressed residents, community leaders, security agencies, and government officials. The African Democratic Congress has called on the National Assembly to urgently pass the Electoral Bill 2025, warning that continued delay could undermine critical electoral reforms and threaten the credibility of the 2027 elections. ADC Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi, in a statement, said the party accused the APC-led Senate of delaying the bill and warned against weakening or stalling key reforms like electronic voter accreditation and results transmission. During plenary, the Senate inaugurated a 7-member ad hoc committee to review, harmonize, and streamline senators' contribution to the proposed amendment to the Electoral Act as part of renewed efforts to fortify Nigeria's electoral framework ahead of the 2027 general elections. The federal government has commenced the training of 100 Ogoni youth in mechatronics to boost human capacity development and sustainable livelihood in Ogoni land. The training, which is under the Federal Ministry of Environment, is being conducted through the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYDREP. Environmental correspondent Obong Usoro reports.
The federal government says the training of 100 Ogoni youths in mechatronics is part of efforts to boost human capital development and promote sustainable livelihoods in Ogoni land. The project coordinator of HYDREP, Professor Nene Barini Zabi, represented by Director of Technical Services, Professor Damian Paul Agui, said the initiative reflects the federal government's resolve to move beneficiaries from low-end to high-end skills acquisition.
I plead to you, my brothers and sisters, to please, let's take this training with all the seriousness it deserves, and let's apply what we learn.
Professor Zabi noted that mechatronics program is one of the 10 high-end skills training scheduled for rollout this year, stressing that HYDREP is committed to delivering their best training opportunities to the people of Ogoni. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, Professor Ogunari Joshua, said Nigeria needs globally relevant and economically viable skills to drive national development. He urged the trainees to maximize opportunity through dedication and discipline.
This initiative is aimed at building technical capacity in mechatronics engineering among the youths of Ogoni. You are therefore being equipped with skills that are globally relevant and economically empowering.
The trainer, Makosi Samuel, disclosed that the 4-month program will combine theoretical instruction with intensive hand-on practical sessions. He said the training will equip participants with problem-solving skills for complex engineering challenges, preparing them for teamwork and project management in modern digital oil and gas industries, and instill strict adherence to safety, environmental, and ethical standards.
Firstly, I know that this is a training that will create platform for sharing ideas, fostering relationship, and celebrating achievements. The training is not just about the event itself, but about the opportunity it presents. It will impact on them significantly in capacity building.
The 100 beneficiaries were selected through a computer-based test conducted in February 2023. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors have given the federal government a 4-week ultimatum to fully implement outstanding agreements on salaries, allowances, and welfare. The decision followed the association's National Executive Council meeting held in Jos, Plateau State, where members acknowledged progress on some areas but raised concerns over unpaid professional allowances and delayed promotions. The association warned that failure to act could worsen industrial relations across public hospitals. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has denied reports that undergraduates are barred from sitting the Unified Tertiary Examination. Speaking in Port Harcourt, JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede said the claims were false and being spread by fraudsters impersonating board officials. He stressed that admitted students are legally allowed to seek a change of course or institution and warned parents against encouraging examination malpractice. And now to Benue State, where the Commissioner of Police, Benue State Police Command, Emineri Ifeanyi, has reassured traditional rulers and displaced residents of its readiness to continue security operations in affected communities to ensure residents safely return to their ancestral homes. Felicity Ndere reports.
The Commissioner of Police, Benue State Command, CP Emineri Ifeanyi, is in Naka, the headquarters of Gwe West Local Government Area, for an on-the-spot assessment of the newly approved area command. The visit comes as a result of heightened security efforts to address the farmer header crisis that has displaced thousands of residents from their homes.
The General Police directive was very, very straightforward. Restore peace in Benue State.
During his visit, CP Emineri met with the Tate Yoshin and his council, assuring them that the command is fully prepared to carry out comprehensive clearance operations across all council wards to restore peace and security in all communities.
As far as police is concerned, the days of bandit impunity in Benue State, especially Gwe West, are over. They can never be allowed to establish any bandit camp in the Gwe West forest again. The Inspector General of Police have deployed enough tactical teams, including visiting mopos.
Responding to the CP's assurance, the Tate Yoshin, His Royal Highness Daniel Nabunte, requested the establishment of police outposts in communities after the operations to boost the confidence of returnees as they resettle in their ancestral homes.
I crave your police indulgence to consider my border communities with Doma as an area of particular concern, so that your men will not only be on ground here.
The IDPs commended the command's ongoing efforts to flush out invaders and restore peace to their communities.
We are here since from 2019 till today. Even during last year, as we were saying, we go to our various places, but we do some certain farm inputs. They have grazed it all.
We were running helter-skelter, but now there is improvement in Gwe West. So we thank God.
The CP and his team also reassured the displaced persons that all the camps will be closed by December as security operations intensify. In Naka, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global Television News.
The Rivers State government has denied allegations that it blocked a pro-Tinubu group from using the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt. Officials say the facility is undergoing major reconstruction and remains unsafe for large gatherings due to underground piping and structural hazards. The government insisted that the decision was based solely on safety concerns and not political considerations. An Operation Tax Force Northeast, Operation Hatlen Kai, have killed a top Islamic State West African province commander and foiled criminal operations. The troops further revealed that, working with the Civilian Joint Task Force, they neutralized 3 terrorists during an ambush between Ngazalgana and Lamorshi communities in Borno State. The statement says the troops tactically laid an ambush along the identified route and engaged the terrorists with effective firepower, resulting in the neutralization of 3 insurgents, while others fled with gunshot injuries. 2 AK-47 rifles were recovered from the scene of the incident. The Court of Appeal in Ilorin, Kwara State, has upheld the death sentence imposed on 5 men convicted over the 2018 Offa Bank robbery. The appellant court unanimously dismissed the convict appeal, affirming that the prosecution proved charges of armed robbery, illegal possession of firearms, and culpable homicide beyond reasonable doubt. Although the convict retains the right to approach the Supreme Court, officials say the chances of overturning the verdict remains slim. The Ondo State Police Command has dismantled a transnational human trafficking syndicate, arresting 6 suspects and rescuing 14 victims in 2 separate operations across the state. Police say a Togolese national reported that he was lured into Nigeria with the promise of employment in Canada, only to be detained against his will after paying 800,000 CFA franc, while another investigation uncovered a group of Chadian migrants illegally recruited, transported through Cameroon and housed in Akure under the guise of online marketing jobs. Authorities say investigations are ongoing to apprehend fleeing suspects, while the rescued victims will be handed over to respective embassies for repatriation and further diplomatic action. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello, glad to have you with us. Let's take a look at the weather forecast for Sunday. The atmosphere is expected to be stable as no fresh dust was raised from the source region. As a result, the north and the north central will see a sunny and hazy atmosphere throughout the day, although slight dust haze is expected in parts of Taraba, Plateau, the FCT, Kaduna and Niger states. If you're in this region and you have respiratory conditions, please take extra care and necessary precaution. To other parts of the country, a partly cloudy morning is expected. Later during the day, there are chances of thunderstorms in parts of Lagos, Oyo, Ogun, Delta, Edo, Bayelsa Rivers, Cross River and Akwa Ibom states. That's the forecast. Stay with us for the temperature forecast. I am Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
In business, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, has urged Nigerians to file their annual tax returns. He stressed that both employers and individuals must comply under the law. He made this known during a webinar organized for HR managers, payroll officers, CFOs and tax managers in collaboration with the Joint Revenue Board. Oyedele said many Nigerians remain non-compliant in filing self-assessment returns. He added that individual taxpayers must also file their self-assessment, noting that compliance in this area remains very low. The Senate has fixed March 17 for the final passage of the 58.47 trillion naira 2026 federal budget. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Solomon Adeola, said the timeline includes public hearings, committee level budget defense, and consultations with economic managers. President Bola Tinubu presented the budget to the National Assembly in December, describing it as a framework for economic consolidation and shared prosperity. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has given domestic airlines 7 days to include special needs assistance options on their ticket reservation platforms. The directive aims to improve access and protection for passengers with disabilities and persons with reduced mobility. NCAA warned that airlines failing to comply will face regulatory sanctions. And now to news making rounds on the foreign scene. The United Nations has warned that climate-driven flooding in Mozambique has displaced hundreds of thousands of people and overwhelming temporary shelters. UNHCR says overcrowding, lack of basic services and continued rainfall have left women, children, the elderly and persons with disabilities at heightened risk. Humanitarian agencies are appealing for urgent international funding as flood risk remain high and further displacement is expected. The military junta in Guinea-Bissau is no longer seeking to arrest a senior opposition politician who has been on the run. But another prominent opposition leader whom the military released from prison only on Friday has now been placed under house arrest. The junta imprisoned several politicians after overthrowing President Umaru Sissoco Embalo and seizing power on November 26, just days after the presidential election and before the official results were released. The military suspended the electoral process and Embalo fled the country. The United States mission in Nigeria has announced a temporary suspension of regular updates on its X account due to a lapse in United States government's appropriations, while assuring the public that passport and visa services will continue as the situation permits. The mission disclosed this in a post on its verified X handle. According to the statement, the account will not be updated regularly until full operations resume. The mission clarified that scheduled passport and visa services in the United States and at U.S. embassies and consulates overseas would continue, deepening on how the situation unfolds. Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, has announced a proposal for a sweeping amnesty covering political violence from 1999 to present, weeks after the removal of former President Nicolas Maduro. Speaking at the Supreme Court in Caracas, Rodriguez also unveiled plans to shut down the notorious El Helicidio prison and convert it into a public facility for police, families, and surrounding communities. The reforms, including new laws opening Venezuela's oil sector to private investment, have drawn strong support from United States and President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, the United States has stepped up pressure on Iran, with President Donald Trump confirming the deployment of a major U.S. naval force to the Middle East, even though Tehran is seeking a deal to avert military confrontation. Speaking at the White House, President Trump warned that diplomacy remains an option, but only under clear conditions. And now the reports. President Trump says Iran is eager to negotiate with Washington, but insists the United States will not hesitate to apply maximum pressure to protect its interests. The deployment, which Trump described as a massive naval presence, comes amid heightened concerns over Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missile development, and internal unrest. The U.S. president says the show of force is meant to reinforce America's position, stressing that dialogue will only proceed from a position of strength.
We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now, even larger than what we had in Venezuela. It's still in front of Venezuela. We're now sending actually a larger number of ships to Iran, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we do make a deal, that's good. If we don't make a deal, we'll see what happens.
President Trump also made reference to Venezuela, saying the country's leadership is stabilizing, noting that the United States is encouraging the international community to access Venezuela's oil resources for the benefit of its people.
The Venezuelan situation, the leadership is doing a very good job. We're very happy, and we're getting along very, very well. And we're inviting countries of the world very shortly. They're going to be starting to take the oil. We're going to be heading that with the country.
Trump further revealed that Iran had been given a deadline to comply with the United States demands, though he declined to disclose details. He cited reports of Tehran halting execution of protesters as a possible sign of compliance. However, the U.S. president avoided committing to any military course of action if talks fail, saying all options remain on the table. As tensions remain high, Washington maintains that diplomacy is still possible, but backed by overwhelming military strength. Mukhtar. South Africa and Israel have expelled each other's top diplomats after Pretoria declared Israel's chargé d'affaires, Ariel Seidman, persona non grata for violating diplomatic norms and ordered him to leave within 72 hours. Israel swiftly retaliated by expelling South Africa's envoy to Palestine, Shaun Edward Benevit, as tensions between the two countries continue to escalate following South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. South African authorities accused Seidman of attacking President Cyril Ramaphosa on official social media platforms and facilitating unauthorized visit by Israeli officials, action both sides say justify the unprecedented fallout. Now talking sports, 5th seed Elena Rybakina has defeated world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in a gripping 3-set final to capture the Australian Open women's single crown. The 26-year-old Kazakh, born in Moscow, secured a hard-fought 6-4, 4-6, 6-4 victory at the Rod Laver Arena, marking her second Grand Slam title and her first Australian Open triumph. Rybakina took control early, breaking Sabalenka in the opening game and closing the first set 6-4 in just 37 minutes. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic has defeated reigning champion Jannik Sinner in a gripping 5-set semi-final to reach the Australian Open final in Melbourne. The 38-year-old Serbian star fought back from behind to win 3-6, 6-3, 6-4, 6-4 and will now face top seed Carlos Alcaraz in the final. A victory would earn Djokovic a record-breaking 25th Grand Slam title, cementing his status as one of the tennis greatest players. Still talking sport, Real Madrid will face Benfica in the Champions League playoff rounds following the draw, setting up a quick rematch after the Portuguese side defeated them in the league phase. The loss pushed Real Madrid out of the top 8 and into the playoffs, while Paris Saint-Germain will face domestic rivals Monaco after finishing 11th in the standing. The two-legged ties will be played in February, with winners advancing to the last 16 in March ahead of the final in Budapest on May 30. Nigeria's senior men handball team has crashed out of the qualification for the 2027 IHF World Championships after a 25-20 defeat to Angola in Kigali, Rwanda. Despite leading at half-time, the Golden Arrows struggled in the second half after Farouk Yusuf was sent off, allowing Angola to dominate and secure Africa's 5th World Cup ticket. The loss ended Nigeria's campaign at the African Men's Handball Nations Cup, despite strong performances from Hakeem Salami and Aziz Suleiman. As Global TV News Prime comes to an end, let's take a look at our top stories. The immediate past National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has dismissed claims that Northern Nigeria will not support President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. In business, Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, has urged Nigerians to file their annual tax returns. On the foreign scene, we brought to you that the military junta in Guinea-Bissau is no longer seeking to arrest a senior opposition politician who has been on the run. And in sport, 5th seed Elena Rybakina has defeated world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in a gripping 3-set final to capture the Australian Open women's single crown. That's it on News Prime. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using a Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.